Wednesday night on PalmerCityRecords.com. That means it is time for 10 Cent Beer Night, the sports show of Palmer City Records, here in Akron, Ohio, every Wednesday, 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Seth.
I'm Bob.
And happy St. Patrick's Day to you. This would be
the luck of the Irish.
This would be a terrible day to have a 10 cent beer night. And I don't mean the show, I mean an actual 10 cent beer night. An actual awful idea.
Green beer.
Green beer. Green beer is fine, but for 10 cents, it's all gone. You know. But other than that, we got a lot to talk about, a lot to look forward to. Unfortunately, we're going to start on a kind of not a great note. Cleveland Cavaliers play tonight. They actually play the Boston Celtics in Cleveland. No, this is not. I wanted to look to see if this was. No, I don't think this is a nationally televised game. But having the Leprechauns come into Cleveland on St. Patrick's Day, and the Cavaliers, right now, trying to make the case that they're a playoff threat, but have not won a game in the second half. Kind of hard to make that case. The Boston Celtics are kind of taking a dip, too. They're not playing their best basketball, so they're trying to pick it up right there. Going into tonight's game, Kevin Love out.
Again?
He kind of re-irritated that injury he had on Sunday's game. He did not play last night. Yeah, last night they lost to the Eastern Conference champion Miami Heat. That was tough. Larry Nance Jr. goes back. He's been playing well.
He came back last Friday, didn't he?
Yeah, and he's been starting, and everything's been good so far, it seems to be. For the Celtics, no Kemba Walker, and the most anticipated return of Tristan Thompson is not happening tonight. He is out. So they're without their point guard. They're without a key piece off the bench, their center. However, they still have their two all-stars in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So Boston's got enough to give the Cavs a rough time tonight. Just watching some of the game last night and whatnot. How should I say it? They're not horrible, but they're not getting everything done. And that's what it's coming down to. Like, they can compete and give anybody a run for their money, but then they don't finish. Their first quarters are killing them. They're not having good defense in first quarters.
The other night they had their second quarter 9 points.
Well, that was against New Orleans.
They got 9 points in the second quarter.
Third quarter. Yeah, it was the third quarter. And that's not good. That's just unacceptable in the pro level there. It's a young core trying to work out the kinks. As far as veteran leadership goes, Kevin Love out tonight. Taurean Prince also out. He's been banged up and not been playing too. They do, again, like I said, they have Larry Nance back. Andre Drummond still has not been traded, so they have not received any key pieces as far as that's concerned.
When's the trade deadline?
It is on the 25th. It is going to be a week from tomorrow.
Well, I heard that there's interest with the Knicks with him.
With trade. It's the most likely scenario for the Cavaliers. They're asking, the rumors come out that the Cavs will sell for just a second-round pick in the deal. Just to unload him, because they know if they cut him, he's either going to head to LA or Brooklyn. And that's why I think the Knicks are a good possibility, because the Knicks are in good position right now. They want to give Julius Randle some help. They're in playoff position. So to secure that, they rent out a big piece, bring Andre Drummond in, and that's going to help them in the run to the playoff, where if he gets cut, he's not going to be headed to New York. If he is headed to New York, it's going to probably be the Nets, which has been the rumored favored right now. As far as everything else goes, again, Kevin Love, a no-show. And then on top of that, if you want to make things a little worse, he's played 4 games. He's played very well. Kevin Porter for the Houston Rockets has really showed up and played very well. So it's been a really rough ride for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But they got to go one game at a time. They don't give up on each other. They like playing with each other, and that's the big difference there. And Bickerstaff, you can see there's frustration. There was a report that came out today. Cedi Osman, one of the more humble, kind of chill all-around players on the team, keeps a lot to himself. They said last night there was a key shot made by Jimmy Butler, which pretty much sealed the game's fate. And they said when the timeout was called, Chetty threw his headband down on the ground and he punched the Gatorade cooler off the table. And they said that's
unlike him.
Yeah, and that's what they're saying. It's they weren't putting him down. They were saying this is just how it is. It has now gone to everybody to the point they're starting to do things they don't normally do. Right. And I mean, and they said player teammates ran to settle him down. It all got chilled out. He didn't throw anybody in the bus. He didn't point fingers. He just was upset that they could not overcome the last night's game. So they go into today's game against the Leprechauns themselves, Boston Celtics in Cleveland. Let's see what happens. That game is at 8 p.m. tonight. So, again, it's a young core trying to work out everything. Matthew Dellavedova still dealing with some appendix things, so he's not going to be back there for it. And that's more, if you want to talk about defense, that's a defensive guy there. When they were top 3 in defense early in the season, it was mainly Andre Drummond and Larry Nance. Drummond's not there. Nance is just getting back into the swing of things. Yeah, so get there.
Yeah, Drummond's not even on the bench.
No,
he's not even.
He's gone. Yeah. He is long gone.
But I personally, we talked about this last week. I'd be playing him. You're still paying the guy $28 million.
Right.
He's making $28 million, and here he's just at home sitting, waiting for somebody to call him, I guess. But $28 million, I'm going to get my money out of you. That's just me. I mean, personally, that's me.
It's a very tough situation, that whole thing. And it sucks, too, because fans win the season thinking, Andre Drummond's going to be here long term, da-da-da. And then once it became clear he was, it Cavs were all into the Jared Allen trade. It was a good trade. It was a necessary trade. And I say about the Kevin Porter one, too, is because you cannot act that certain way after when they go above and beyond to try to get you the personal help you need. And you go off and do that and call them Nazis and whatnot, and slave owners and all kinds of stuff. What other names he called them. And so there was moves that had to be made. Kobe Altman does a good job. He's got a great evaluation of talent. We're talking about defense. Isaac Okoro's still playing good defense.
We got some good young talent, but they're just going to take some time.
Right, and that's what people got to understand. In the NBA, similar to the NFL, the older the team, the better. Mm-hmm. As long as you're not too old. If you look at who makes the finals, the older teams do. If you want to make a case, there's going to be people with an argument that the Warriors, when they went against the Cavs 4 times, they were predominantly a young team. However, if you look before the Kevin Durant acquirement and even after that, their bench was veteran players coming out. Yes, they did build a young core in Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, but that also did take a couple of years too when they did get those guys. You look at the Oklahoma City Thunder before they broke up and split everything, about 4 or 5 years into their rebuilding process. Kevin Durant, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, a couple other great players in there, Steven Adams, and then it all gelled together. So the Cavs are there. Like, these struggles, it's hard to watch right now, but going into next year, as long as they can add more pieces, you're going to be glad that they use this time to grow, learn, and develop. Because these losses suck now, but with this young group that knows the game is focused and wants to grow, they're going to remember these losses. It's not going to be, like I know they always say, brush it off, move on to the next one. But in the offseason, they're going to be thinking about those. And they're going to look for every way to improve and then build on that. So it's a process. It's tough. The thing I'm glad is, and I've said it before, I've said it again, they're getting this one right this time. The last time LeBron left, they did not get it right. They weren't getting enough good players. The players were fighting with each other. It was a whole mess. And it actually, believe it or not, it carried on when LeBron came back. So now they got a group that they gel together well. They get along with each other. They want to win. You're going to see a move between now and the next, not tomorrow, but the following Thursday. Mm-hmm. I do think you're going to see a move or two. But I do think it's going to. One thing I do want to say about the whole Cavs and their situation, there's got to be a decision soon with Kevin Love. He's not staying healthy. He's eating up part of your cap. And, he doesn't mind being here, but he would like to be somewhere else competing for a championship. He's just that way. He doesn't mind playing around with the young guys. There was an reports, speaking of that did come out. People talk about the veteran players up for sale and whatnot. One guy is JaVale McGee had come out and told the team yesterday, all right, that he is not going to entertain a buyout. He says, if you do not trade me, I am staying in Cleveland the rest of the season. He likes being here. He likes being with the young guys. He's a guy. He's been around so many different teams in so many different situations. He's got a couple. He's got 3 wings now. We were just talking about that after winning one with LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers last season. So that he's got millions. He's pretty chill, right? He's playing hard. He's not frustrated. He likes this crew. He likes working with them. He likes goofing around with them. You know, that he's just telling them, look, if you do not trade me, just keep me on the team. And then we'll keep pushing. You know.
That's good. I mean,
yeah.
Somebody that wants to be here.
Exactly. Unfortunately, I do think he might get traded next week. I think you're going to see... Like there's always something that happens in the NBA, and usually it does involve the Cavs winning or losing seasons. You're going to see a swap. I know the Lakers want him back. The Trailblazers are looking at him. A couple other teams. Somebody might pull a trigger here. But if not, you got a veteran that wants to be here, work with other guys like Larry Nance to help groom and produce with them. So that all being said, we'll see what the Cavaliers do tonight at 8 p.m.
And you'll be keeping us informed.
We will. When it gets that time, that game starts in about less than 20 minutes here. Real quick, Bob, let's talk about this March Madness situation. And we're going to start with me and Bob went up to the MAC tournament this past weekend.
It wasn't Cleveland. What we was hoping.
No, it wasn't. But let's just talk about our experience real quick. We finally got to see some live action sports for the first time in over a year.
Yep.
So that was nice. The final result, of course, being Ohio U, the 5th seed, surprises everybody and takes home the trophy, and they will be going to the big dance as the only representative of the Mid-American Conference.
You know, the last time they were the 5th seed, they went to the Sweet 16 under Gross.
Under John Gross, who's the current head coach of the Akron Zips. So yeah, that was something there. What we saw going into the semifinals was Toledo and Akron. Toledo and Ohio, the number 1 versus number 5 seed there. Toledo did not play the greatest basketball they usually have played this year. It looked like something was off, and Ohio was just taking advantage of opportunities.
Yeah, it was a good game for a while. Ohio just looked. Ohio wanted it. You can just tell they wanted it.
They played their cards right. They played both sides of the ball very well. Then we saw number 3 Akron versus number 2 Buffalo. In overtime, the Zips had lost there. What were your feelings to why the Zips kind of fell apart right there? Not just near the end, but in general, how they played. Because again, this was a tough loss.
Yeah, personally, I think. You know, we have a young team.
Overall,
a couple of these guys were from last year's team, which didn't get a chance to experience tournament action. So it was a lot of could have been nerves, per se. No experience. We only losing 1 senior. You know, we're losing Jackson, and all these kids are coming back. You know, I just think that. The experience. We didn't have the experience that the Toledo had. I mean, Buffalo had. Buffalo had.
Buffalo played hard all around. The Zips played hard too. My issue was in the past on. You saw how great the team was last year and everything. When they moved the ball, the offense opened and the better shots came. It was really one-dimensional near the end there. Well, I didn't really.
Buffalo played great defense.
Right.
I mean, every time they were trying to pass the ball around, there was somebody there for Buffalo. I mean, the defense, it's just, I don't know. Akron was just completely outplayed. On the boards, in the lane, you know what, I'm just looking for next year. Okay.
Well, and
I'm a Cleveland fan. Wait till next year.
And let's talk about next year real quick I wanted to get a name there. Okay. Let's talk next year with the Zips. They got a guy returning that they got from Wake Forest. They got another guy they got from Illinois University, who won the Big Ten championship, this past weekend. So that's a big deal. They got a guy from Wisconsin, and the school Wisconsin, being transferred over. And then news came this past week that Akron is still the number one on top prospect Chris Livingston's list to go to. And that's a big deal because I don't think Akron's ever landed a 5-star prospect ever. And he's right now rated number 4, number 5.
We talked about this. This kid, Chris Livingston from Akron Bookville here, he's definitely pro material. I mean, he's only a junior in high school, but a lot of people comparing him to LeBron, Kobe.
I've compared him to Kobe more.
And this kid with the 1-year rule, I think he wants to stay in Akron so his mom and dad can see him. He goes pro, who knows where he's going to go. Mom and dad's going to have a hard time going to all the games, okay? I really believe he's going to stay in Akron because of that reason. He'll go his 1 year and then probably be gone.
Right.
And he has expressed interest that he wants to stay in Akron. He wants so his mom and dad can see him play.
And what a big deal that would be at the university because you get a player of his caliber. I mean, I'm going to say it right now. With the blueprint Akron has right now, and if you throw Chris Livingston in that, they're going to cut through the MAC like butter. All right? Because you don't get players like Chris Livingston playing in the MAC. You get a player like him, they're going to roll. Okay? On top of what they already is coming in, and plus what we don't know what John Gross has in store, because he always finds some international kid that can play the game, especially big men, centers, that can play the game.
And he always gets guys from the D1, big D1 schools.
Right. And you could talk realistically, and I know some people might say, you're jumping the gun here, this is Akron, this is smaller. No, if you get a player like Chris Livingston and his caliber, you're talking at least going to the second, third round of the big tournament. Like that, it's just the better the players, the better the chance. That's just how it is. Now I know any team can be. That's why it's March Madness. I haven't set my brackets yet, but brackets always bust. That's always ruined. You get those upsets in there. But again, if you get a guy of his caliber in here, I mean, that's going to get the name of the school out there. This opens up, and I'm pulling for the kid no matter where he goes. Like what Bob was saying. You don't know where he's going to go pro. For all you Cavs fans out there, like, man, wouldn't it be great to have another kid from Akron? The way the Cavs are set up, and I understand right now they're not playing well. A couple years down the road, they should be a playoff team. He's going to be, unless they trade up, he's going to be an unrealistic acquisition for Cleveland. So he's probably going to be headed somewhere else. Where he'll go, we do not know. It could be anywhere, but I wish him the best of luck.
Can you see if the Cavs get him, then the two boys from Akron.
Right.
We took two boys from Akron, Ohio. I mean, a lot of good ball players come out of Akron.
A lot. Well, I want to talk about, like, this past weekend, Buchtel lost.
They lost to Lima Shawnee in the regional final.
There you go.
To go to Columbus. Of course, Akron sang V1, so they're going to Columbus.
So they're going to Columbus.
Yeah.
Well, I bring it up because they're going to be led by 26 overall prospect Maleki Branham, who committed to Ohio State, and that is another name from Akron. That
from St. V?
Yeah, from St. V. He's number.
Another kid we don't really talk about is Livingston's brother, his twin brother. He's getting a lot of D1 offers.
He might be somebody who, if he joins his brother in Akron, hypothetically, we don't know what's going on there. He could probably stay another year or two in Akron and make some splash, or maybe make a transfer or whatever eventually. But I could see both of them. Potentially, if Chris decides to go that way, I think he's going to be the domino effect for whatever his brother decides. Unless his brother wants to compete against him and goes to Kent or something like that, which could be. But
no.
But we have the 26th rated prospect in the nation right now, and Maleki Branham. Again, he went to Ohio State, a 4-star athlete, 6'5", small forward. He's going to be headed to the finals. They're correct, the state finals for St. V.
Maybe, yeah. Well, they're in the Final Four.
Final Four. They're in the Final Four there. St. V's won it before. We know the stories about LeBron James winning a couple with them. We know the Chris Livingston's won it with Buchtel before.
Yeah,
they've
2 years ago.
Yeah,
like freshman year.
His freshman year.
Because his sophomore year he was over at Western Reserve. Then he came back to Buchtel.
Right, but there was a sophomore at that time. It was basically 2 undergrads that carried them to win that championship there. But yeah, we got a guy here. Now I was looking up for Malecki, kind of what player he is, because people have Livingston as that top.
Well, he's the number 1 ranked kid in Ohio, and I think he's number 5 national.
Yeah, number 4 or 5.
Number 4,
there, yeah. Because he's growing too. He's 6'8", but when he was getting ranked before, he was like 6'3". And now it's going well, and that's like I looked at. They have the rankings for the 2023 class already. Okay, number 25 overall, Bronny James, point guard, 6'3", and he could be growing too when it gets to that time. He already does have one offer. Kentucky has already reached out to him.
Kentucky didn't make the NCAA?
No, they don't. And you know what? No, it's a good point. Because if Calipari has, let's say he has another bad year next year, is he going to be there around 2023? Or are they going to be looking somewhere else? You know what I mean? And again, Bronny has not decided anything. I just know for a fact by the information I got, he got an offer. From Malecki, I can pull that up real quick. About who all offered stuff. Again, he's committed to Ohio State. Let me pull up. He also had offers from Alabama, Illinois. Looked at him, did not have an offer. Iowa, Kansas State, Michigan State, Missouri, Pittsburgh, and Xavier all had offers.
I mean, those are big schools.
Yeah, he signed last summer. So it was last July he signed, and he'll be headed to Ohio State there. And again, for Chris Livingston, Ohio State, Akron, and UAB have given him offers. He's gone looks elsewhere, but the offers, those are the 3 right there. So it's an exciting.
I'm just glad he's looking. He's looking at Akron. You know?
Right. I mean, this is
the kid. His talent usually don't stay.
No, they do not.
And we've talked about this before. I really believe LeBron would have stayed here. You don't think he would have?
I don't think he would have.
But he would have, because of the 1 and out, he would have stayed here and played with his buddies, Romeo Travis and Drew Joyce Jr. I really believe he would have stayed here. I would have loved to seen it, being Zip fans.
But can you imagine the Cavs franchise right now if it didn't happen? They may have been in the gutter longer.
Yeah, I'm just saying, because they changed the rule. He was one of the last ones.
Right.
Then the rule was changed. It used to be they took him out of high school, right from high school,
Right.
But if they had the rules at the time where you had to at least go to 1 year of school, it's not like football. Football, you got to graduate or drop out of school to get drafted.
All right.
Baseball, you can, once you start the first day of college, they can't touch it till your junior year. Even if you dropped out of school, legally, they ain't gonna touch you, because for that reason. Basketball at the time was all we grabbed a high school. Baseball grabbed high school kids too.
Yeah.
But it was that
they go through the process in the minors and whatnot.
But once you there's there's minor league now in basketball if you want to consider the G League, which is their minor league system. But back when LeBron was coming up and stuff, was there a G League? I think it was a D League, a developmental league that ain't like what the G League is now.
Right.
The G League
wasn't as good.
It wasn't as good. G League's good basketball now. I mean, I really enjoy going down and watching the Canton Charge. But things have changed.
Right. And it hurts program. I mean, we were just talking about Kentucky. I'm going to be honest with you, Calipari really has not built a full program over there. He hasn't. He's got so many one-and-done kids every year. Like, he basically rents them out and he's got one championship because of it. But now, as a result, there's no chemistry.
I don't believe in this one and out. You either they got to go all the way through college or you get them out of high school. Right. If I was a college coach, all the colleges going after you. You're the best guy in the country. Right. You're gonna get, and you want to win a championship. So you go out and get all 1-year guys. And that's what's happening here. Now, I think Kentucky, all of a sudden, now the 1-year guys aren't going there.
Right.
They're going somewhere else, so they're not. Now they're kind of sliding. I want to build a team. To me, they're student athletes.
Right.
They're student athletes. I want them to play basketball for me, but I also want them to get an education because there's no guarantee.
And you want them there more than
how
1
many
year.
of those college kids you see go to college? How many go to the pros?
Not many.
Not many.
Not many.
So
you look. If I can add to that, another team that's not in the big dance this year is Duke, and it's been the first time since, what did they say, 1974. We haven't seen Kentucky and Duke in the big dance. And the reason I bring that up is you probably think, well, what happened to Coach? Because he's a brilliant coach. He's probably the best coach in college basketball history. What happened that made him do this? Let's back it up a year, okay? Does the names R.J. Barrett, Zion Williamson, and Cam Radish mean anything to you?
A little.
Sound familiar?
Yeah,
they were all top picks in the previous, not the last one, but the one before that, okay? Not only that, they were all one and dones. Not only that, they were number 1, 2, and 3 ranked nationwide that Duke picked up right now in their chance to win a championship. And if I remember correctly, they did not win a championship.
These teams are out to try to. They want to win. They want to win now.
Right.
I don't want to build a program. Gross comes in. If we're talking Akron U, he comes in. His first year at Akron, majority of the kids that didn't transfer out because of Keith leaving were Keith draftees. He's starting to get his own people now, and I can see the difference now in a little bit of play over Damrock's style and Gross's style. You can see it. I think Gross is a little bit more run gun.
Right.
Damrock was, he had the run gun too, but he played a lot of inside stuff too, and I see a lot of that.
Right.
And I see a lot of these kids that seem like Gross is starting to recruit. I'm not saying Damrock didn't recruit a bunch of good guys, which he did. But Damrock's getting guys from now the D1s. They're transferring in. They want to come to Akron for.
You mean Gross?
Gross. Yeah. Damrock didn't seem like he got those. He got a lot of transfers came in from the D3s or D2s and stuff like that. Now I got the D1.
He got a lot of the regional guys where Gross was going all over the place. He's going to Florida. He's going to Illinois. He's going, And
to build a program, you got to do that. I mean, we all want our kids in this area to play.
Right.
Play. We all want to go see him. We want your kid. I want my kid to stay as close as they can so I can go see him play. Right. But you gotta. Gross. I'm telling you, he's building a program at Akron that a couple years from now, I'm telling you, it's going to be one of the top notchest programs, mid colleges at least.
Right.
Programs in the country.
And it is, and that's the only thing that worries me is I like John Gross a lot. I like Damrock too, but it's like in a weird way, and I mean in a weird, because I know Zips have won conference championships. They haven't won the big thing. Okay, and I bring that up because it reminds me a little bit of.
Well, the Zips have never won the first round when they did make it to the big dance. Okay.
Right. I look at it like a Jim Tressel, Urban Meyer type situation. And let me explain real quick why. And I know that's Ohio State football. That's a whole different story. Tressel we recruit Ohio only. We're an Ohio ground team. This is Ohio ground pound. It was special the way these are all Ohio boys. They're all tearing it up on Ohio turf. When we win the championship against Miami U, that was Ohio beat everybody else. It was special. However, you also limit yourself. So here comes Urban Meyer. Of course, he coached at Bowling Green. He coached at, I think it was Cincinnati, too.
And Florida.
Florida State. Florida State, Florida U. The Gators.
The Gators,
yeah. But, so, Urban comes in after Luke Finkel and all that little mini time that Finkel was in. And Finkel's a great coach, and he's done a heck of a job in Cincinnati right now. If you want to talk about somebody that's built a program, that's what he's done in Cincinnati. Meyer comes in and he says, we're going to get the best players possible from anywhere. We are going out of state, and that was one of the biggest nightmares for the SEC because they're like, not only can we we can't get the big O-linemen in Ohio because Ohio State's gobbled them up. Now they're taking all our other position players that we usually get and they're taking them up to Columbus. And so Meyer does that, and the team, consistently well, like it was with Tressel, but even better. And they win a championship. There's a couple times we wonder if they could have won more. Then Coach Day comes in. He does the same thing as Meyer. Actually, they're saying he's doing it better than Meyer. They're saying
Day's doing a great job.
Yeah, he's getting 5-star guys from all over the place, and they're very Coach. They're saying he's breaking NCAA records for the amount of 5-star athletes he's bringing to one program at a specific time. And you see, though, there's been that change. So we look at the Akron Zips now. All right, Dambrot turned that program around. He was coaching in Akron before at St. Feast with LeBron James. He finds his way up to University of Akron. He brings his guys there. So you got chemistry there, and he gets the ball rolling. So you're saying, yeah, he had some Division II, Division III guys. He was also very regional. They were Pennsylvania. They were Ohio. Right. He got some Texas. We had a couple good Texas play, But mainly he was more regional, and again, he was more one-dimensional. But offensively, defense, however you want to look at it. But he brought guys in that fit the system well and could blend in. So Gross comes in. He's been through the MAC before. We know that in Ohio U. He's been through the Big Ten at Illinois, and he was not bad at the Big Ten. He just never got over that hump.
Yeah, he had a winning record.
Right.
Big Ten winning record in the Big Ten.
Right.
He never had a losing season while I was in Illinois.
Right. So he's a winning coach. He's had history. He's been to the Sweet 16 as a MAC coach before, and so now he's got all these probably you can assume other connections with being part of a bigger school and all that. And I think he's learned to sell Akron better than probably Dambrot, just looking at what he's brought in. Gross has done an incredible job with this. That's why I'm looking forward to the future. Last year could have been their year for the MAC tournament. I think me and you were talking about that on the way back home.
We were up at the game, and of course we had a sophomore kind of stumble on us in
right.
Freeman. You know who I'm.
Yeah.
And he missed those couple under the baskets and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, I like the kid, and I think he's only going to get better.
He played hard defense. He grabbed a couple key tough rebounds. What he did is, we were talking about Tristan Thompson earlier. He reminded me of Tristan Thompson in the hesitancy to go up and get it, even though you have the height and the strength to do it. And it's if I had that body type, I would even know you're going to get hit at times. You just better hope the ref blows the whistle on the other guy.
And then, like we talked also, one of our best shooters didn't even play.
Right, he couldn't because of the NCAA rule.
He was allowed to play during the season, but he couldn't play in the tournament. And I don't understand that rule, but that's the way it was. We seen it. I kept saying, why went out there? Why ain't he playing?
They couldn't.
And then of course I read the transfer rule. You let him play in the regular season, but you don't let him play in the tournament.
It is strange. I don't.
The NCAA, I do not understand.
They've had a lot of questionable in all sports questionable ideas and calls,
especially in the year that we had with the COVID. You bend the rules some. These kids that want to play. I mean, you got teams in the NCAA tournament right now that got 26 wins, and you got one team 26 games in. You got one team that's got 15. So they didn't even get full seasons per se.
But
you're allowed 32 games, because of the COVID.
Right.
Bend the rules a little bit. Let these kids play. They missed the whole last year. They missed the whole season, the whole tournament. Akron won the MAC. Who knows how far they would have won the tournament? We had a good team last year.
We did,
and they stopped them.
Rightfully so at that time.
I understand that, but let these kids play. Of course, you let them play this year. We wasn't even allowed to go to the game. We finally got to be allowed to go to a game. The whole season. We're ticket holders. I mean, we support our Zips,
right.
Man. And finally they said, yeah, we're going to open it up for the tournament. What the heck,
Yeah, now they opened up for the tournament there. And then you had some conferences where they said conference games, no fans at all. Non-conference,
I think the Big Ten,
come.
I think the Big Ten didn't have people in the stands, did they?
Right, they didn't. But then they had some that non-conference, they can't come.
The Mid-American Conference said no games, no fans in the stands during the season. All of a sudden, we could have them in the stands for the. We're up at the Q, he can make some money on this one.
Yeah.
You know, that's. Well, anyway, talking about the NCAA tournament, of course, Ohio State is playing Oral Roberts on Friday.
Yep.
Cleveland State is playing Houston on Friday. And the Bobcats, Ohio U, is playing Virginia on Saturday in their bracket. And, of course, the NIT bracket, I'm just going over the Ohio teams that made it.
Right.
In the NIT, Toledo's playing Richmond. They're playing right now. We looked at the score a little bit ago. It was 15-9. Toledo was leading.
It just started, yeah.
Buffalo is playing Colorado State. And Dayton is playing Memphis. And in that one, Buffalo playing Colorado State. Buffalo got in because Louisville refused to go to the NIT.
Probably didn't feel like it was worth it.
It was worth their thing.
Yeah.
So Buffalo was on the bubble, and since Louisville dropped out, Buffalo got the nod. So
there you go.
I read that the other day, and that's another thing too. Why would it's a tournament? The kids want to play. They want to. If you don't make the big one, so what? You go to the small one. You go to win a trophy. Come home with, I'm a champion. Let them play.
I think it's an ego thing.
It's an ego thing. Well, we're too good for that little tournament. You know what?
Right.
Colorado State used to be a pretty good basketball team. They're there.
Yeah. So Memphis has been. I remember they were in the championship.
Memphis used to have a good basketball program.
Calipari and Derrick Rose. They went to the championship a year when I was in high school.
And then, of course, the NIT tournament, they usually take, after the 68 is picked for the NCAA tournament for their bracket,
mm-hmm.
the NIT will pick 32 teams. Well, this year, because of the COVID, that only took 16. All the games are being played in Texas. Same way with the NCAA, all the games are being played in Indiana. There's 4 different venues in Indiana that's playing of course, the championship, the Final Four will be in Indianapolis.
Right.
But and Corpus Christi, Texas, is where the final for the NIT will be.
There you
But they're all being played in Texas. So
looking at the big dance, Ohio State easily favored against Oral Roberts. Yeah. Ohio State lost in the Big Ten tournament to Illinois, but they had they took out Michigan to get there. They had to take out who was the team? Was it Purdue that gave them a hard time too? I'm trying to remember. I think so.
Ohio State?
Ohio State, yeah. And so they had a good run there, and of course there they are as a number 2 seed against Oral Roberts, their favorite there.
Yeah, they're number 2 seed in their region.
Right. Ohio U versus Virginia. That's going to be a tough one for Ohio because Virginia's a great program. Do you think Cleveland State's got
I think Cleveland
State
is going to give Houston a game.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm looking
Dennis
at the matchup.
Gates has done a great job up there for the Vikings.
I could see Cleveland State going to the second round. I honestly can, and if that's one of those matchups I'm looking. I'm saying, I think Houston obviously is favored.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, on my bracket that I played the other day, Cleveland State. I took Cleveland State.
There you go. I always do a couple. I'm going to do some tonight. I haven't done any yet, but Cleveland State's going to be
one. I always do one.
I do a couple. I do a couple fun ones. We'll see.
And I know people they'll play a couple and I'll take Cleveland State in this one. I'll take Houston in the other one.
Right. That's what I usually do.
Not me if I play one.
And you don't know who's gonna come out and on fire. Like example, I will never forget around it's like 10 and 11. Excuse me, when Butler and Brad Stevens came out of nowhere. And they just mowed everybody down up until the finals. The first final, they almost hit a half-court buzzer beater to win it all. Just missed it with Gordon Hayward there. And then the next year, it was a close game, but I think they lost by 4. But it was just that team out of nowhere. Just driving down. The team from Indiana. Just coming out of nowhere. That's what this March Madness is all about. And I'm just glad we had, at this time last year, we've been looking through some flashbacks on Facebook and all that. And at this time last year, our governor shut us down. There was no March Madness. It was
to me, I'm a college basketball fan. I'm not a big pro fan. Now, I do follow the Cavs and stuff like that, but I'm big. And this is my time of year. I mean, the other night, all the tournament games last week or whatever. I sat and pretty much watched all of them. I didn't even know half the teams, but I watched them.
Right.
I sat there and watched North Dakota State beat somebody. I mean, teams I don't even know who they are. But,
Right.
but this is my time of year. I love March Madness.
Right.
I love the big dance.
It's special because what people got to understand too is for a lot of these kids, this is it. This is it, and I bring up because of course you got your top prospects. Of course we're excited about Chris Livingston. We're excited about who the Cavaliers might pick when this is all said and done, and we're watching them in the big tournament, how they play out and everything. But there's another part to it. You got these guys that they know they're not going to see the pro court. They might play in Europe overseas like a lot of Akron Zips have. Maybe, maybe not. But they're like, you know what? Let's beat these guys. Let's take away their moment and get a moment we have because we can at least walk away with that because they're going pro. You know what I mean? They're going to make the millions. We're not, so let's take them out. So you got these kids that this is it. They give everything they have on the floor. They're not making millions. And so you get to see some quality basketball because of that. So it's special in that regards.
I mean, to these kids beating a top team. So, say like we'll say Cleveland State. They're a 15 seed. Mm-hmm. They're playing Houston, and I don't think I put the seed down for Houston. They're playing Houston. Nobody really expecting it, but if they could beat them, I think Houston was a 3 or 4 seed, and you beat them. It's just that moment, that feeling. Hey, we can beat the top teams in the country.
Right.
Just that feeling. Let's get that next one. It's a feel good thing for these kids.
It is. And the whole nation's watching.
The whole nation watching, and a lot of pro scouts watch these things too. I mean, there's a lot of there might be a kid in Cleveland State or Ohio U or we know Ohio State gets a lot of looks. But, those smaller schools, these tournaments, the scouts come out. They come out more. The same way with when I'm doing my scouting. The Suburban League Championship, the Federal League Championship. I'm usually at all of them because there's a kid I didn't see.
You want to see who rises up and takes.
As they go up the ladder, of course, the better teams, the better kids are moving up that ladder with them, and you get out there and see it. And I've scouted kids and reported on kids that nobody in our organization's ever seen, didn't know nothing about. I sent it in and said, good one is years ago is a guy, Steve Proctor. His kid's name was Steve Proctor. Pitched for the Girard Indians over in Youngstown. I went over there to see another kid. I think it was with Boardman at the time. Girard was playing Boardman, and I see this kid, and I said, "Man, this kid's pretty good." So I get home that night. I call my boss, and I said, "You guys know anything about this kid? I mean, did anybody report on him? Because at Youngstown, the border state." I don't get over there that much. Scott Ebert does that a lot. And they said, no, we never heard of this kid. So I wrote him up and sent it in. And I told my boss, I said, I'm going to go back over. He's pitching Saturday. I'm going to go watch him pitch again, put him on a gun and stuff, and I'll report again. Anyway, so I'm on this kid. I'm talking highly of this kid. I love this kid. This kid is a high school kid. Well, he gets drafted by the Baltimore Orioles out of high school. And my regional supervisor, not my boss, his boss, calls my boss and says, who is this kid? And they said, Bob's been reporting on this kid all year long. Nobody's seen it.
Right.
Nobody's seen it. Well, anyway, Baltimore took him in like the second pick. But nobody. I seen him.
Second overall or
second overall pick in the draft.
How long ago was this?
About 11, 12 years ago.
Okay, because I recognize the name. He did come.
Big lefty. And Baltimore, I think, traded up for him. Traded up for it. So, because they were, I think, I'm sure they got the second pick in a pick or something a while back. And I was shocked. I was shocked. He got drafted, and our guys didn't even look at him. But I kept reporting. So now they sort of
they hear you out more.
They hear me out more now, And like I said, of the 30 years I've been with them, this certain organization, not saying any names, I've had 48 kids drafted and 8 made it to the majors. So
there you go.
I'm doing
well,
good.
and they want to, going back more to basketball, what you're saying.
I'm sorry.
No. Yo, you were fine, because there's a great example, because I got to wrap up by this time. We have to take our break.
Yeah.
They want to see, in these situations, who rises up and who is clutch and who plays hard. Because that's going to be a big deal. Because like, if we draft you, not only season games, but if we go to the playoffs, are you going to be somebody we're going to turn to that's going to come through and make it be a difference maker, so we could eventually bring a championship back to this town? Because, again, we get used to looking at the LeBron coming back. We went to 4 straight championships. There was 30 other teams that watched those 2 teams go to 4 straight championships, and including Toronto that went against the Warriors with their 5th straight and beat them. They were sitting there like, we want to take that away from them. How do we do it? Kind of attitude, and it starts here,
Right.
and it works their way up. We gotta take a quick break, about a 5-minute break here at Ted's Beer Night. When we come back, the Cleveland Browns are making free agent moves, and the Cleveland Indians are breaking down their roster. We'll talk more about that in about 5 minutes or so. We'll be right back, guys.
All these blues. This morning the blues walked in like a man. All these blues. The blues walked in like a man. Worried blues. Give me your right hand. All the blues is a low down and a shaking chill. Yes, preach it now. If you ain't never had 'em, I hope you never will. When I preach these blues, you come on in, take your seat and sit on down. When I preach these blues, you come on in, take your seat and sit on down. And if the spirit moves you, if the spirit moves you, and if the spirit moves you, Lord, if the spirit moves you, jump straight up and down. disease. Yeah, these blues is a low down and an aching old heart disease. Like consumption, killing me by degrees. I can study the rain, oh, I drive my blues away. I've been studying the rain, I'm gonna drive my blues away. Going out to the distillery, gonna stay out there all day. Up jump the devil!
And welcome back to 10 Cent Beer Night on this St. Patty's Day. The sports show of Polymer City Records every Wednesday, 7:30, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Seth here with Baseball Bob. We'll get to baseball in a sec. We got a lot going on in football right now that we're not going to do that. Real quick before we talk more about the big free agents they signed and where they went, we're going to talk about our guys in the Cleveland Browns. Fans thought they would rush in and make some big splashy moves. I knew off the bat they weren't necessarily going to do that because they want to now save some money, keep some of the guys they have now, but build on the draft. However, they were looking to fill some holes. Here's the moves they got so far. There's only been a couple. They did make one big move. John Johnson III, where a lot of people thought he was the best safety in free agency after a lot of them were tendered on what do they call it? I want to get this right. Franchise tag. A lot of them were franchise tagged. John Johnson III leaves the Rams for a 3-year deal with Cleveland. About 3 years, $33 million.
$33 million.
Playmaker, great instinct, smart kid. The type of player that the Browns, the Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski want to build around. Somebody that has a high football IQ and somebody that plays hard on and off the field with a clean head on their shoulders too. Some people might be confused with this move because they traded for Ronnie Harrison last year and they drafted Grant Delpit last year as well. This move makes a lot of sense, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, first of all, Grant Delpit, great player. They're looking forward to seeing him come back. They say he's rehabbing well. He also tore his Achilles. That's a big injury in football. That's a loss of a lot of burst for a lot of players. So it's going to take a while for him to get back on his feet and whatnot. He will be ready by training camp and all that. Here's the other thing: is he's still technically a rookie. So you don't want to throw a rookie out there that just got over a torn Achilles. Okay, he's still got, he's got a lot to offer and everything. So on top of that, you got Ronnie Harrison, who'll be more the strong safety. Okay, he might move to free safety at a point. He has had some injuries, but he's a very good player. He showed it last year. All right, so you bring Johnson in because what this is going to do is, all right, Harrison and Johnson are going to be your starters. All right, yeah. Grant Delpit is going to learn. He is going to rehab a bit. And he's going to just catch up on how to play in the pro level. It's better than just throwing him out there on week one. We're not only risking injury, but because he hasn't learned all the ropes yet, and he's had a year away from it, that it prevents any, let's say, damage to the defense from opposing offenses, is what I should say, okay? And also, it's football. You need depth. You need a lot of depth. People get hurt. They also have, in Joe Wood's system, dime packages that require 3 safeties. So there you have it. Delpit, Harrison, Johnson, right there. On top of all that, people forget Andrew Berry was a defensive back, a cornerback. Kevin Stefanski was a safety. They know the defensive back position very, very well. So when they felt there was a move to be made, this guy was reported on top of the Browns list, okay? Unfortunately for the Browns, J.J. Watt, he goes to Arizona. Von Miller's option gets accepted by Denver. And on top of that, other players went to other places that were on their target list for, I think, more money than the Browns were willing to spend on them. But Johnson was a captain on a very good Rams defense, along with Aaron Donald. That says a lot within itself. This is a great pickup. That
was great.
You know
what
great
I mean? Pickup.
I said they should look at free agency for safety help. Now I'm saying maybe down later, like third day, if they want to pick up a safety, see if he makes it. Because you always need about 4 safeties on the opening day roster, at least maybe 5 for special teams. But now you don't have to look, in those first 4 rounds for that safety, because now you got him. I zoned out there. I started burping and whatnot, and I was just like,
do you think the Browns are still going to go after a defensive player?
They will. They went to going more in depth of what the Browns have done. They got Tack McKinley, defensive end, their former first-round pick of the Atlanta Falcons, and he's got a great burst of speed, a lot of upside. Falcons kind of gave up on him. They weren't really getting out what they wanted out of it. He was drafted in 2017. Browns wanted to pick him off the waiver wire for a while, and they just couldn't, because the Browns were actually good for once. They were behind on the waiver wire, so Raiders picked it. I think Vikings had him for a short period of time. I'm going by memory here. So forgive me if I'm wrong, but I know Raiders had him at the end of the season. He signs 1 year, $4 million. A lot of people think, oh, this is the guy that's going to probably go across from Garrett. This is not really what. Not quite. He's probably going to take more of the Adrian Claiborne role, where he's going to be in pass rush packages. But again, this is a depth pickup. This isn't necessarily a starting pickup, but this is a guy they really wanted, and it's a 1 year deal. If this is the starter, it would have been more of a more than 1 year deal.
More 1 year.
They did also re-sign Malcolm Smith, former Super Bowl MVP. He was with the team that last year. He played well. They brought him back for about $1 million. 1 year, $1 million. He turned down an offer from the Panthers to come back to Cleveland.
Good.
So that's the moves the Browns have made.
They're starting to see that this team is for real. I mean, this team is going to be competitive. It's going to be playoff bound.
Right. Looking at the big free, we're not going to go through all of them, but just the big moves that were made in this free agency. Of course, we know about Dak Prescott and all the franchise tags ones. We went over that last week. Leonard Williams, defensive tackle for the Giants, is staying in New York, 3 years, $63 million. Trent Williams, offensive tackle, signed a 6-year, $138 million contract, making him the richest offensive tackle in NFL history. He's going back to San Francisco. That was a deal he made with the 49ers. Niners gave up a decent amount to get him last year, so they might as well pay up the money and keep him. Shaquille Barrett, who was looked at as a Browns target, signed 4 years, $72 million to stay with Tampa Bay. Kenny Golladay remains unsigned at this moment. He is going to visit the Giants soon. The rumor has the Giants could be favored in landing him. Joe Thuney, an offensive guard from the Patriots, is going to the Chiefs. This one surprised me. 5 years, $80 million. With the big deal they have with Pat Mahomes, their cap took a big hit. They only got so much money to spend, and they gave this guy a big contract. Now they need O-line help bad. You saw the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know. Hunter Henry, tight end of the Chargers, is going to New England. 3 years, $37.5 million. He joins Jonnu Smith, who went to New England for 4 years, $50 million. So 2 of the best tight ends in free agency are both going to New England. We've seen Belichick do this before. Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez. He likes the double tight end threat. He just got a big-time new one right here. New England is spending a ton of money in free agency. Corey Lindsey, longtime center of the Green Bay Packers, is leaving for the Chargers, 5 years, $62.5 million. 17th ranked free agent John Johnson, of course, we said was going to the Browns. Carl Lawson, this one surprised me. The Jets are also spending some serious money. Leaves the Bengals for the Jets, 3 years, $45 million. This one just happened while we were doing the show. Former Ohio State Buckeye Curtis Samuel leaves the Panthers for the Washington football team on a 3-year deal. William Jackson, you were talking about the Bengals need defensive help. They should keep their good defensive guys. William Jackson left for the football team for a 3-year deal.
Yeah, they're unloading down in Cincinnati.
There you go. Aaron Jones, running back for Green Bay, is staying 4 years, $48 million. Bud Dupree, Ohio State linebacker, was, of course, with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Leaves for the Tennessee Titans, 5 years, $82.5 million.
I think you're going to see a lot of Steelers leaving.
Yeah. I want to add to that note, the second team, if he didn't go to Tennessee, it was Cleveland. Cleveland went hard for him and just fell short. So, and I think it may have did something with the relationship he has with his former teammates, too. I think it had something to do with that. So, but they did talk. Anthony Harris, safety, remains unsigned. Melvin Ingram, edge, remains unsigned. Trey Hendrickson, who was with the Saints, had the Browns on his top 3 list the morning of free agency. He added another team and left for Cincinnati, 4 years, $60 million. Right there. So that was surprising. I'm surprised he got that much money. I am. He's a good player, but I didn't think
he ain't worth $60 million.
There you go. Corey Davis. Remember Corey Davis? Central Michigan. He used to be up on the steps. He's going to the Jets, 3 years. Juju Smith-Schuster remains unsigned. He has told the Steelers he is gone. He will not be in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he did that at the end of the season. He pretty much said he does not want to come back.
There you go. Matt Milano, big-time linebacker for the Bills. He's staying in Buffalo. I'm going to say this the best I can. Alejandro Villanueva for the Steelers remains unsigned. I'm going to be looking for other big names here. Shaquille Griffin, cornerback of the Seahawks, goes to the Jaguars for 3 years, $40 million. Browns were looking at him. I don't think they had talked to him yet. I don't know if they, because again, I'm not in the war room, but Browns were very serious at looking at him. That would be a good pickup. Rob Gronkowski re-signs with Tampa Bay for 1 year, $10 million. Patrick Peterson remains unsigned, but interesting, same draft, top 5 pick, AJ Green, wide receiver for the Bengals. His time in Cincinnati is done. He's headed to Arizona on a 1 year deal there. So, and then another big signing was Jameis Winston signs 1 year, $12 million. Sean Payton has confirmed Winston and Tyson Hill will be battling for the quarterback job in New Orleans. So that's pretty much set. Unless they pull a surprise and do something on draft day, it's looking like that's going to be the pair right there.
Yeah, there was New Orleans. There was a rumor that Breeze wasn't going to retire then.
Yeah,
this came out. He wasn't sure because he kind of hinted that he was thinking about staying, but I guess he finally retired.
There you go. Great career, fantastic career there for Drew Brees. J.M. Brown, Akron Zip, going back to Tennessee on a 1 year deal there. Kenyon Drake is still unsigned. T.Y. Hilton is still unsigned. Russell Okong and Chris Carson are also unsigned. That's a couple key free agent names that still have not picked up anybody. I'm looking ahead because a lot of them happened, but some of them haven't been.
I see Detroit picked up a quarterback.
Did they really? I haven't seen. I actually have not heard that one yet. I do. Here's a key one I actually want to talk about. Andy Dalton going to the Bears for 1 year, $10 million.
That's what it was Chicago.
It was Chicago.
Yeah, okay.
It's a big deal because
he's a bum.
Well, there's I always had a joke. You heard me bring up with Chris when Chris is here. What was Andy Dalton's favorite dessert? Apple turnover, because that's what he did in Cincinnati more than he should have. But I bring it up because here's the is Chicago. It brings me back PTSD with the Browns and their old quarterback situation. We got a guy now. We can be very thankful for that ended that string. But they went and overpaid for Mike Glennon at a time. They went and traded up for Mitch Trubisky, picked him over Pat Mahomes. They went and traded for Nick Foles, and now they just signed Andy Dalton 1 year, $10 million. You gotta wonder what's going on in Chicago under center. And the irritating thing is, defensively, this is a great team. Offensively, they've got great weapons. They've got a great head coach. Why can't they find the quarterback?
I mean, Dalton to me is a backup. I mean, is he going to be a backup or he's going to be a starter?
He'll be their starter. He'll probably be their starter.
I mean, he's a career backup man.
For the rest of his, there was a time it made sense.
I'm rooting for the Bengals.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a bum.
Yeah, and he was the same draft as AJ Green there. I like Dalton off the bench better too. I think you look at what he did with the Cowboys when Dak got hurt, and he looked all right.
He did all right.
Yeah.
with them as a backup guy.
He won a couple games there. He made less mistakes. I think he looked better there, but it's just.
I just wonder what Chicago doing.
Yeah. You have some good pieces. If you find the right guy at center, you're going back to the play. They did go to the playoffs. Despite that controversy, they did go to the playoffs this past year. So, I don't know. I think Nick Foles needs to go. Don't resign Trubisky. It's all kinds of a mess there in Chicago. Draft somebody. Find somebody you really like and draft.
Well, I think they'll draft a quarterback.
There you go.
They're going to draft a quarterback because they're going to have somebody for the future.
Right. Correct. Looking ahead, Shelby Harris signed a 3-year deal with Broncos. He was one of the underrated free agents there. This has not updated yet. Alex Mack did go to San Francisco, former Cleveland Brown. So he signed with so they got to keep Trent Williams and they got Alex Mack. Mack should be a Hall of Famer. So that's an update there on Rashard Higgins. Browns have submitted an offer to him. They told him they're not changing it. He wants to test out the market. I guess he did not quite like the amount the Browns offered him.
Yeah.
And
I would like to keep him.
I would. You know what? I think it's going to be the same story as last year. He might sit there for a while, and after the draft, hey, you're back, kind of thing. But
I mean, you can't wait long though.
No, but you know what? I think I have to agree with the Browns on this one because I like the guy. He's good, but he was also kind of inconsistent. If you're paying even $1 million to somebody, you better be showing up. That's just kind of my attitude. So, I like the guy. He fits. He gels well. The players like him. Again, you were inconsistent. You get what you're worth. You want more? Go out and play the best season of your life next year, and you will see more. But
I think he'll stay in Cleveland.
I think he will too. We were talking about Urban Meyer and the Jaguars spending a lot of money also too, getting Roy Robertson Harris and Keyshawn Jenkins. He did bring back Carlos Hyde.
I seen that.
So there you go. There's
his running back at Ohio State.
Right. So that was basically a rundown of the top 100 free agents. Real quick, the ones that are still left that are big name, Kenny Golladay. He hasn't been picked up yet. Anthony Harris, rumored to be favored to re-sign in Minnesota. Melvin Ingram has not been picked up. Juju Smith-Schuster of Villanueva of the Steelers too. Actually, I think it was somebody else re-signed with Pittsburgh O-line wise. Patrick Peterson. This also has, it's missing the team logo. Yannick Ngakoue went to Las Vegas.
No, if they're missing a logo, it's probably Washington.
No, they have it there. Will Fuller is also not signed. Here's one for you, Browns fans, as an idea. Jadeveon Clowney. I wouldn't give him too much, though, because he's always hurt. But when he plays, he's great. That would be a great starting defensive end there. They did talk to him last year. However, when they were talking to him, it was going to be a sign-and trade that was going to give him a second-round pick from the Saints. and the NFL kind of didn't like that. They're trying to make a Madden video game move. That's what us Madden people do. We sign free agents that are left after the draft, and then we trade them. You know, Xavier Rhodes is still a free agent. That's a quality player right there. Sammy Watkins is. We'll see who gets him. Again, you want to talk about, I thought Watkins would be a star by now, but it's been whatever. Kenyon Drake is still a free agent. T.Y. Hilton, you know, Chris Carson, Russell Okong, Kenyu Neal, and that's just to name a few there. But free agency's going very well. There's been a few trades, but nothing out of the ordinary. I will tell you that I've done a lot of research on the Browns rumors and whatnot. Again, today, David Njoku's option became official. Andrew Berry does not want to trade him, despite what he's been saying. OBJ made some tweets the other night. Okay, he has confirmed with Mary Kay of Cleveland.com. It's about coming back from his ACL. That's it. The media wants to make it, oh, he's gone. He's going to leave. He ain't gone.
OBJ's not going anywhere.
He wants to beat everybody's ass in Cleveland. That's what it is. And they don't like seeing it. And another rumor I want to shoot down too. There was a Twitter/Yahoo rumor going around. Kareem Hunt being sold to AFC East teams. There's been no proof whatsoever from reliable sources.
Hunt's not going anywhere either.
He's not going anywhere. It doesn't make sense. He had a great season. He's from Cleveland. They gave him an extension before the season started for a reason, and you're good. No, you just want to see them lose, and it's not happening. That's what's going on here. Now, as far as Browns fans are, we thought they would. Here's the thing. Even though I like to see them make big splashes too, there's still players on there they could get for quality price. You have to build through the draft to be consistently good. That's how it works. You also have other pieces from your last draft that are building and improving. Louis Manson, Grant Delpit. I'm more talking about the defensive side of the ball, so I'm not really talking about our left tackle there that we got who's fantastic, Jedrick Wills. But he's going to improve anyway, all right? That Trent Williams deal makes me kind of scared because when it comes to time to give an extension, you might ask for similar money. We don't know. But we look at, we got a couple defensive tackles too out of that draft and how they're developing and everything. You got 4 picks in the first 70-some selections. Hit on all those. It's a great defensive draft. You can, I mean, the way this is the way the pros view it too. Okay, you hit on all 4 of those picks. That's 4 great players you just added to your team. Your team just got better. You hit on all 8 of them because they have about 8 picks this year. You got 8 good players on your team. Your team just got 8 players better. That's a big deal. That's why the draft matters so much. Is because we've seen teams turn around in 1 year because of one great draft. And maybe those picks were good for maybe only 1 year, so unfortunately, or maybe they were good for 7 years.
Because we've had some years in Cleveland, the draft just wasn't.
Oh right, and you know what? I've seen. Again, we've seen some like one that comes to mind is Holmgren's first draft with Phil Taylor, Jabal Sheard. Now Sheard had a good career, you know. The first year for a lot of those players, they came out, played great, and they had a great season. That was a 10-6 season, okay? After that, and I remember Mel Kiper saying, I changed my grade with Cleveland, they get an A+. These guys came up and played, I was wrong about this and that. He ended up being right a couple years later. Because you don't know what you got till 3 or 4 years down the road. 1 year does not tell you much. That could be a fluke year, and for some of those guys it was. You got to make sure when you hit on these picks, especially those early mid, that these are 4+ years commitment here. That's how you build, and that's how you win there. So people that are on the fence, first of all, Browns have not made a bad move yet. They're not blowing money.
They've made some good moves, and I think they're still under their cap.
Right, they're still under their cap. And you got to remember, too, they need money. Expect right before training camp, Nick Chubb's going to get that extension. Okay? So, do you need money for that? Because soon Baker and Denzel Ward are going to need an extension, too. It's going to happen. If you want to keep these people...
Baker's in another 2 years?
Yes, 2 years. They accepted his... They accepted his 5th-year option with Denzel Ward,
right,
too. So
we can worry about those next year.
Yes, exactly.
So.
But they might not at the same time. Look at Myles Garrett. They accepted his 5th-year option. They said we're going to add another 5 years. Here's $125 million, and they gave him that extension right away. They could have waited till this year, but they didn't. They said let's extend you now. This is what we're offering you.
Well, Haslam's spending some money.
He'll open his pocketbook,
Now,
but
if we can get Dolan to do that, it'd be.
no, we're never going to get Dolan.
We'll never get Dolan to do that.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because we're going to switch real quick to baseball. Okay, and it came out this morning. Me and you have been talking about the Shane Bieber talk. They only got like a week and a half left till they pull the trigger on that. Came out this morning. Cleveland Indians reportedly want to talk to Jose Ramirez about an extension. Okay, Ramirez is signed till 2023. All right, that's a good thing. Here's the bad thing. Okay, this part's good. He's a very humble player. He's all more about the game than the business. He's been trying to avoid some of the talks. If we get into statistics, though, Bob, and you know this, I don't need to tell you, but we're telling the folks at home, he's statistically better than Francisco Lindor.
A hell of a lot better. Lindor.
So he could.
Frankie. We're talking about Frankie.
Yeah, we'll call him Frankie because he doesn't like it. He also doesn't like to. He likes to take naps during the biggest games of his life too. The more information that he gives, the more I'm kind of glad they got rid. It's coming out. Maybe there was a side of Frankie Lindor we did not know, Bob.
I mean, hell of a ball player, but you don't leave our town and say, I didn't like to be called. Well, tell us when you was here.
Right. Or tell us that instead of hitting the weight room before Game 7 of the World Series, I took a nap. And we would probably want... You know how many people would have killed to be in his position right there in the biggest game of their life, and it's nap time. Well, you can look at your ringless finger and you can blame it on that, I guess. I don't know. There was more that went into that game, but it's like, if you're supposed to be the star leader, put me in the weight room. Actually, I would be with a baseball bat in that dugout just looking at the other team like, I'm going to get you. Yeah. Like, you're not going to take my trophy.
Well, little by little, more and more things are coming out.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder.
Maybe it was right.
Right. And you know what? If it was right, my only thing negative I have to say about with the Indians and how they handled it, maybe they should have traded him last year for more. Just saying. Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see what they have in this trade. We got some good prospects coming. We got a good shortstop right now in Jimenez. Looks like he's about locked up that position. Rosario trying out for center field. Ahmed, not Eddie, but Ahmed. And I guess it's going kind of shaky.
Well, he had 3 errors yesterday in 3 innings.
Not good. Now
he dropped two fly balls and overthrew a guy.
You might want to put Mercado out there. We'll see.
And I guess Zimmer is struggling at the plate.
He might start in AAA anyway, so they still got options with
and
him.
I got your boy. Bradley is probably pretty much a lock-in for the first base job.
Really?
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. Bobby, if he gets it, he deserves it. So that'll be. And I did read.
I was reading online last night that
it's almost official. Logan Allen's going to be the 5th starter. You want to talk about an upset there for the job? We had Quantrill.
He's pitching well.
Yeah,
he's pitching well
they
in
said
spring training.
He improved that slider. They said everything's looking good. Quantrill will probably make the bullpen. And as a long reliever there. And he's still in the place. He just had a shaky spring training. He didn't pitch as well as they thought. But I would not have put money on Logan Allen. And it's looking like it's almost official. He's going to be the starter.
Well, they were talking the other day, too. They might start the season out with just 4 starters. Because in the first 20 games, they got 3 days off.
Right.
So they might have just 4 starters, the rotation for the first 20 games or whatever. So Allen might be heading for the bullpen. Beaver's going to be Beaver's a home opener. Second one, 2 years in a row now. His second one. But I didn't know Cliff Lee. He has the most home open starters at 5.
Really?
5 in a row. I didn't know that.
In all baseball or
no for the Indians.
He's got 5 in a row for the Indians.
And then and Sebastian has 4.
Sabathia, yeah, and then Kluber had 3.
Kluber had 3, and then this is his second. But I was kind of shocked when I seen that Cliff Lee had 5 straight seasons he opened the home opener.
I'll be damned. There you go. With 6:35 left to go in the first half, Cavs 40, Celtics 26.
Whoa!
Yeah, something's going on there for the Celtics. Mark Smart and Pritchard each have 6 points to lead the way. For the Cavaliers, Colin Sexton's got 12 points and 3 rebounds. 8 points and 1 assist for Garland there. And so it looks like the Sexland, they call it, is playing very well right now for the Cavaliers. It gets early, but good start. And well, here's the thing. They only gave up 18 points in the first quarter. They usually average 37 points they give up in the first. That's good. They always say their first quarter pretty much.
What do they do? Bring up the charge players since their season's over.
No, their season's tight. They got a lot of games left on the schedule. So I'm
talking about the charge season's over. Find some of those guys to play.
Oh, they might have a couple for the home, but they're probably not playing right away, obviously. But that's good for the Cavs there. We'll keep you updated. It'll be halftime soon there. But yeah, for the Indians there, slowly this roster's coming together. I'm getting more and more excited the more I look at it.
April 1st.
Exactly there.
They'll be in Detroit. They open the season in Detroit.
There you go. Their lineup today for spring training against the Reds.
Yeah, well,
was it?
They play the Reds more than anybody in spring training because they're in the same complex.
All right, Cesar Hernandez, Eddie Rosario, Jose Ramirez, Franmil Reyes. By the way, I said those would be the top 4 in that exact order the whole time. People had Jose at second or leading off. I was like, no, he's going to be the third hitter.
He's going to be the third.
Quit being ridiculous there. Josh Naylor in right field. Not sure how I feel about that, but again, it's spring training. Who cares? First base, Jake Bowers, who is still in the loop with this team.
Yeah, but Brantley's hitting the ball well.
Yeah, Bradley.
Bradley.
Catcher Roberto Perez.
He came into camp 20 pounds under. I mean, he lost 20 pounds.
He lost 20 pounds. Good for him. Shortstop Andreas Jimenez, who's having a very good spring training. Then center field today, Oscar Mercado. Tristan McKenzie starting.
I think Oscar's on the bubble. It's between...
He has options. They might not rush him there.
Yeah.
I will say one guy that is a lock is after the Mike Freeman trade. Yu Chang is probably going to be off the bench too. Good.
He'll be off the bench.
Underrated power. Some good fielding. Just a good all around infielder. Like he can play second and third
I think he hit a home run yesterday.
He probably
yesterday's 18-8 loss.
He led Double-A at a time in his short stint in Akron, and I don't think at the end of the season I don't think he was the leader, but he was just 240, 20-some home runs. And you look at the kid's size, and you're like, damn, he could hit home runs. Like like I said, he's just got that knack, that eye, and he can hit it out. But that's a quality player I like to see the Indians give a chance there.
Well, I know. I don't know if you watched the game yesterday. Beaver gave up 9 runs.
Yeah, he had a bad start.
But 9 runs, but 1 earned.
Right. And the other thing you gotta remember, and I know you know, but the folks at home might not, is a lot of these pitchers like, okay, Bieber's a lock. We know he's gonna play. He's gonna be testing stuff in spring training. He's not gonna have his best stuff.
Like we talked last week. Trevor Bauer. Well, he finally hit a batter the other day with one eye.
Yeah,
one eye closed. He has this training method that he pitches an inning every inning during spring training, every game with one eye closed. So he's throwing the ball with one eye. Well, yesterday was the first time he hit a batter. And all the time he's done this, the first time he hit a batter.
Right. So. They're testing stuff there, and the only thing that makes me nervous with hitters is we look at Andres Jimenez, who's playing really well at the bat. If you have a hot spring training, there's most likely you're going to have a cold start to the season.
Right.
And I don't like seeing that in the way. It's like, okay, cool down now so you can pick it back up when the season, because he is a good player,
and we've seen that a lot.
We have
of guys coming out of spring training, all of a sudden the bat cools. And
Jason Kipnis last year, he hit with the Indians, not last year, but his last 2 years ago. He hit like 7-9 home runs in spring training, killing the ball.
I haven't been following that. Does he make the Braves?
Right now, he's doing well. He actually posted an article update today.
Did he?
That
I like Jason.
Yeah.
I was hoping that the Indians would bring him back.
Me too. I thought they would, but They didn't, but it's looking good. He'll be on the Atlanta opening day roster.
Good.
So, but going back to what I was saying, and then he comes in the season, it was just cold from there on out, and you don't like to see it. You want to see it when it matters.
And I did see that we released Billy Hamilton.
Yeah, he was released
last week.
Yeah.
And I was hoping because I like the speed that kid has.
His bad's been an issue.
He's 30. Well, he's a kid to me. He's 31 years old.
Right. And he provides a lot of great speed. Now, the one guy they got from the Marlins that has similar speed to him is still on the team. Like he hasn't been demoted to minors or anything. He's still battling for an outfield spot. So he might make the team off the bench.
Another thing, this home opener is on April 5th. The home opener. I know they go to Detroit. They open in Detroit.
Yeah.
There's one thing about the home opener this year that we're gonna miss.
What? Oh yeah,
John Adams. Since 1974, he's been in that center field home opener, banging that drum. And John will not be. That'll be the first home opener that he's missed since 1974.
So 1974 was the last time Kentucky and Duke both missed the big tournament. It's also the last time John Adams.
That's the first time John Adams played.
Okay, he played. So his first, yeah.
So 74.
Yeah, and by the way, that outfielder is Harold Ramirez, who I was talking about.
We just got him.
But he has speed similar to Billy Hamilton there. But I wish John Adams
I got his bobblehead.
There you go.
I mean, how many Cleveland Indians gave his bobblehead out one night? That's how this guy is a big fixture up there in Cleveland.
Right.
John Adams.
On that note, I just realized it is break time. We gotta take our last break. We're a minute over. Cavs leading right now, and we'll talk more about that and everything else on 10 Cent Beer Night here in about 5 minutes.
All these blues. This morning the blues walked in like a man. All these blues. The blues walked in like a man. Worried blues. Give me your right hand. Oh, the blues is a low down and a shaking chill. Yes, preach it now. If you ain't never had 'em, I hope you never will. When I preach these blues, You come on in, take your seat and sit on down. When I preach these blues, you come on in, take your seat and sit on down. And if the spirit moves you, if the spirit moves you, and if the spirit moves you, Lord, if the spirit moves you, jump straight up and down. Let these blues is a low down and an aching heart disease. Yeah, these blues is a low down and an aching old heart disease. Like consumption, killing me by degrees. I can study the rain, or I drive my blues away. I've been studying the rain. I'm gonna drive my blues away. Going out to the distillery. Gonna stay out there all day. Up jump the devil.
And it is the last half hour of our St. Patrick's Day show here at Ted Said Beer Night. Thank you all for tuning in, that has watched, debated, and
at least you're wearing some green on this new shirt.
Yeah, there's something there. Yeah, we got Cleveland Razors, influenced by.
Well, you talked about last week. You was this company, and you was going to start wearing
just the next couple weeks. Yeah.
You brought me one last week. You had one on, and then of course,
right. This is a Nightmare on Elm Street influence. There's the Freddy Krueger. Down here. Down here. It's the Freddy Krueger Chief Wahoo there. So there he is. He's Nightmare of Elm Street for anybody that's not a horror nerd per se. It's actually based in Ohio, kind of the West End there. Even though they're all based in Ohio, but the first one was shot in California, so there's all these palm trees and stuff, and it looks weird because I don't remember Ohio looking that good.
Nightmare on Elm Street is supposed to be from Ohio? Mm-hmm. I did not know that.
You did not know that.
I did not know that.
It's more like the Southwest area. They didn't really give an exact. They didn't say it was like Dayton or whatnot, but it's I did hear. Speaking of metal and horror, real quick, I'll throw this out there. That Megadeth bassist David Ellefson, he's putting out a horror movie coming out soon, and it's at least most of it, if not the whole thing's based in Canton, and that threw me off. He's not from the area either, but yeah, is
he good friends with our friend Marilyn Manson?
I think he's probably met Manson, but
Man's from Canton.
Manson's from Canton. He ain't doing well these days. He's getting canceled because we're not going to get into detail.
They're going to invite us to be in the movies.
He might. No. Maybe not Ellefson, but maybe somebody else. But I saw when the Lake Erie train's on that, and I'm like, that train looks familiar. And it was in the trailer, and they said the last appearance they saw was last time they were seen was in Canton, Ohio, and I went, That's why I've seen that train before, because this is based in Ohio. So that's a free plug for some horror coming out, and that was not related to anything sports there. So yeah, this is Freddy Krueger.
I like that shirt.
The Razors.
I like that.
Freddy Krueger there, Chief Wahoo.
And next week he'll wear another one, different.
And I'll give you a hint. It's another classic horror movie. But 53-32, the Cleveland Cavaliers lead with 1:49 left to go in the first half. Leading the Cavs is Colin Sexton, 14 points, 5 rebounds. Actually, no. Garland leads them by 16 points and 1 assist. Sexton's got 14 points and 5 rebounds, though. For the Celtics, leading 8 points by Marcus Smart. Get this. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they're 2 All-Stars combined for 8 points.
Really?
That's it. Yeah, this is an impressive first half by the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's riding down with 38 seconds left. They'll be leading by about 17 at least, unless somebody scores it between now and the end of the clock. No, great first half. They played the second half. They got the win.
All right, come on, Cavs.
But we'll see, because they're the Celtics, the luck of the Irish. What's going to happen the second half? But
there's no luck of the Irish today in Cleveland.
No, I guess not. I guess the RTAs just ran over the Leprechauns there, and there's no luck of the Irish there. So we'll see. So it'll be good.
Hey, we had a birthday yesterday.
Yeah, who was it?
We should mention. Born in 1956 on March the 16th, was one of the Browns' greats, Ozzie Newsome.
Ozzy's
birthday was yesterday. Yeah.
I know he retired from the front office of the Ravens.
Right. Well, he went with Art Modell when the Browns left Cleveland. He went to Baltimore with Art. So, and then Don Griffin's birthday's today. I don't know if you know Don Griffin. He did play for the Browns in 94 and 95. He was a cornerback, born in 1964. His biggest days came in San Francisco. He won 2 Super Bowls when he was with the 49ers. So
here you go. Interesting story I want to read real quick. It's going back to the Cavaliers that just popped up. Let me read this. This is coming from Cavs Nation, the report. Cavs had to use Miami ballroom with no basketball to prepare for contests against the Heat yesterday. And let me read you the story, because this is a little interesting here. Before the Cleveland Cavaliers played the Miami Heat on Tuesday night, they were forced to conduct a shoot-around for the game without a basketball within a Miami's hotel's ballroom. Chris Fedor of Cleveland.com pointed out that the odd circumstances are a continuing byproduct of NBA's COVID-19 health and safety protocols. No basketball, wrote Fedor. No hoop, just visualization, socially distancing drills, and dummy sets with masks on.
Jeez.
Our guys need it, Cavs head coach J.B. Bickerstaff said. We couldn't have come here and played this team without any refs, but we couldn't get on the court. We had to figure it out in our ballroom. That sounds sketchy to me.
There's something fishy with that.
Because I know, okay, they're saying, well, COVID protocol. Me and you were at the MAC tournament, and everybody got some shoot around with some kind of COVID pro. You know what I mean? Like, there were certain times and whatnot. And these pros are being told to use the hotel ballroom with no basketball. Just visualize it. That sounds like somebody's pulling something.
My thing... that was the Cavaliers. Was Miami? Was they at their gym?
They were at their gym
throwing the ball. That ain't right.
It's not right. You know what? I think that needs to be reported by the NBA. I really do. I think that something.
Well, I'm sure they're going to see that article. It's written by. It was Cleveland.com.
Yeah, it just got reported. It's fresh off the press there.
See, that's I don't know. That don't sound right.
That does not. I think somebody's going to get in trouble down there in Miami. That was something else. I mean, they must have been scared about something. There you go. So, nothing new on the Browns right now from the free agent front. Again, and they said, too, another thing I want to warn fans as far as NFL free agency goes, because of everything that happened with COVID and the limited money made, they said this free agency wasn't going to jump off the gun like a lot of them was, except if you're New England, who bought half of the free agents already. They're just looking for some kind of success right now. So, excuse me. So we'll find it there. So, right now at halftime, the Cavaliers are leading. Everything going good in that regards there. Yeah, right now. So March Madness, spring. We're almost there to baseball. I will tell you for next week's show, we are going to talk some fantasy baseball with Bob here. And even if you don't know fantasy baseball, all you gotta do is just talk about good players.
I'll tell you the good players.
Yeah. So we're gonna do a fantasy baseball preview, along with, of course, updates on the draft, and then updates on whatever happens with this big tournament. We got 3 Ohio teams in Ohio State, Cleveland State, and I'm forgetting somebody else. Ohio U! The team that we watched.
The Bobcats. How could you forget them?
Well, because I don't really like the Bobcats.
Well,
But it's a MAC team. Hey, if they went far, good for them. I say good for them. Gross had them a few years ago.
I am not a big fan of Ohio University, the Bobcats, and that conflicted with Ohio State. It's Ohio U.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that, but I will be rooting for them because they are the MAC school.
They are the MAC school.
They're in the MAC. I'm a big MAC supporter. I love my Zips.
Right.
And I'll be rooting for Ohio. So, on this date in 1869,
a
long time ago, the first contract players were signed by the Cincinnati Reds. The first professional ball team started on this day.
I didn't know the Reds were the first one.
They're the first professional team to pay their players in 1869.
Well, good for the Reds.
Cincinnati Red Stockings.
Let's talk about the Reds real quick. Because we talk about the Reds when the season starts and whatnot. Obviously they trade for Mike Freeman from the Indians. I think that's just for depth. That's for off the bench.
And you got Tyler Naquin too.
Tyler Naquin, did he make the team, or is looking like he's going?
He's still plugging away.
He's still plugging. Yeah.
He hasn't been dropped yet.
There you go. Looking at star players, Nick Castellanos. I know Votto got the COVID. Yeah,
and I don't think he's in camp right now. I think he's on this quarantine thing.
So there you have it with Joey Votto there. Obviously, they lost their Cy Young pitcher. He went to the Dodgers. How's everything else looking? I mean, it doesn't sound as promising as they tried to make it out last year.
Losing Bauer, our pitching, is I look for us to be in the middle of the pack. I mean, in the Central Division. I mean, I still think that we'll be ahead of Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh kind of looks roughed up,
but it's going to be a hit or miss with the Reds. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else. The pitching, we just don't have the pitching, and I don't think unless Votto comes out and have a great year, I don't see her hitting that great either. So it's gonna take time. We're gonna have to. Time's gonna show. Last year we went into the 60 games season. Everybody thought this could be the year for the Reds, and of course they ended up getting Bauer. The pitching was decent, but no offense. Led the National League in errors. So and I don't see a lot of improvement. We did bring Freeman, so that could be a little bit of improvement, but
Nick Senzel is still one of the top young players.
Well, he's good.
Yeah,
he's good, but overall, team wise, I mean, Cleveland. You see how we struggled last year at the plate, and we still had a higher batting average than Cincinnati had. So, and like I said, they committed a lot of errors. We'll see.
Got a lot to work on. They got a great manager.
Year.
Yeah, they got a good manager and
Boone.
Bell.
David Bell.
Yeah. They had a Boone at a time.
Yeah,
actually, if they were smart, they could have hired the other Boone before the Yankees did. He's a great manager over there. But Bell's a smart pick too. I should refrain from saying that because Reds made a good move there. They've had some pretty good managers in the past, but they need the player support. They got that center fielder from Japan. Some people are looking to see if he's going to break out at any point.
I don't know. I watched them the other day when they played Cleveland the other day. So I mean,
They're saying he's having a rough spring.
He's having a real rough spring. So.
There you go. So we'll see what Cincinnati does. Again, the season hasn't started. We'll see who comes out hot and who's not. You got Tyler Naquin that's going to play with a chip on his shoulder. His time in Cleveland's done. He's still in Ohio. but he's getting a second chance there with the Reds.
Yeah, we'll see him for 4 games,
Right.
2 in Cleveland and 2 in Cincinnati, because that schedule we
Right.
always played for the Ohio Cup.
I'm pulling for him. I don't want to see Alani Chisenhall.
I liked Nate Quinn.
Yeah.
I liked him.
Where Chisenhall left and he went to Pittsburgh for a bit. I think he went to another team, and it just did not pan out, and that was the end of his career. And it's like just somebody that had a spark.
I hope he does good for our Reds. My Reds. I hope he does. I mean, I like the kid. I hated to see Cleveland get rid of him, but we were loaded in outfield.
Yeah, to a point. Yeah, we were like
at the time we had like 7 guys competing for 3 positions.
Well,
or 4 because you're going to keep 1 for a backup.
It's just that Naquin never progressed after the great 2016 rookie season. We just kind of saw the decline and with injuries too.
Reyes, that could play outfield. Of course, we know he's going to be the everyday DH.
But you got Daniel Johnson who could come in and play right away. There wasn't consistency after a while when he did start hitting the ball, and then it was just gone for good. It made sense that they walked away from. I liked watching him personally. I remember back in 2016, I said this kid's the real deal. He could be in our outfield for a long time, and like I said, after that season, I kind of should maybe blame the error in the World Series. If you can remember, he made that really bad blunder. He tried to blame it on Chisenhall. I was thinking it was Game 6. And then he came out and said it was my fault. But after that, it just I won't forget though the walk-off inside the park home run against
I remember that.
the Blue Jays there. That was a good Blue Jays. That was, I think, the Blue Jays team we saw in the American League finals there. If you can remember, we beat the Blue Jays to go to the World Series that year. So that was a tough Blue Jays team. So that was a big win within itself. So we'll see what happens with Naquin. And go in there in Cincinnati and just it's gonna be interesting. My question is, how much is Cincinnati paying, selling tickets, I should say, for opening day, because they can barely get a crowd as it is.
I don't know. They're going to be allowed the same as Cleveland, 30% capacity. I think the Great American Ballpark holds more in Cleveland.
Right.
So I mean, I think Cleveland's allowed 10-5 or something like that.
Yeah.
I think
for now, it might change in a couple weeks.
And I think since I just seen it in USA Today newspaper had all the teams. There's still a couple teams that have not stated if there's going to be fans in the stands.
Forgive me, I forget. Is it starting in Cleveland or Detroit?
They're in Detroit. They're opened in Detroit okay. April 1st.
Because I saw tickets there in Detroit. Now, Detroit's limited right now, too.
Every stadium's limited, except for Texas.
Right.
Texas has opened it up. They opened everything up. And they are already sold out for the home opener.
Even Florida's not even all the way open. Like, they're mostly open, I know, but I didn't. Yeah.
No, I think Tampa Bay was allowed. Of course, they if they get 20,000, I think they're allowed 20,000, and the Marlins are allowed 20,000.
Well, in Tampa Bay's defense, he did win the American League championship.
Yeah, but
Marlins, that's going to be a tough sell.
But Tampa Bay, even last year, was the champions, and they couldn't even get people in the stands. They still had one of the lowest attendance.
Even with COVID, that's interesting.
And but I think the state of Florida, you're burnt out with baseball. I really believe that. You got 2 major league teams there, but you got a ton of minor league teams. A ton of them.
Well, and you got to remember, too, the weather's real good there.
And people don't want to sit. I'd rather go down to the beach.
Right. Well, that's what, in all seriousness, okay, going back to, and I know Cleveland fans don't want to be remembered, but he's still not with us anymore, but when LeBron was in Miami, Cavs had better TV and I'm not including all national, it's more local, had more TV and attendance ratings than Miami ever had. And because they could not sell out a Heat game, even when they were really good, because they're on the Miami beach, they're doing this and that. You know what? And I won't forget when they went against LeBron's second to last game with the Heat. It's in the finals against the Spurs. They got whooped. They lost by 50-some points. And you had all these people in nice white clothing. They did an all white thing over there at a time. And they left. They're all just like, oh, this team ain't gonna win it all, you know. And the real Heat fans were on the way, what we call Loudville in Cleveland, on the way Raptors, and they're yelling, let's go. They about lost. But they paid all that money, and they were the real fans. They were the fans that they love this team no matter who's on. And they're still yelling, let's go, Heat. It's like, it was just a cool thing to see, even though I wasn't really for the Heat because I was mad about LeBron leaving and whatnot. I knew he was going to come back eventually. I got over it. But
you see, those are the real fans. Of course,
they're the. But my point being is that was like 10% of the stadium. They don't take it, when you have what we don't have, the nice weather, the a lot of stuff to do. Your city's open more hours in the day. You got more options. You're gonna take some of those cheaper, better, because you can watch the game somewhere else in a
nice restaurant bar
exactly.
or something. And watch the game, but it's talking about the fans, okay?
Right.
When old Muni Stadium, yeah, of course, Indians had bad teams.
Yeah.
You know, bad teams. I probably seen 20 or 30 games a year up there because there was nothing to go up there and get a ticket on the street for nothing.
Right.
I used to go. My brother Bill will tell you this. We used to go up there, and we was in our 20s, like teens, early 20s. We used to go up there, and literally people would walk up and give you a ticket. You didn't even have to buy it.
Right.
They'd give you a ticket. So we used to go to a lot of games up there.
Because it's free.
Of course. No, we would buy a ticket because at the time, I think it was on Tuesdays, bleacher seats were 50 cents. You could sit in the bleachers for 50 cents if they had a Tuesday game up there. Of course, we go 20, 30 games a year. Nobody there, 2,000 or 3,000 people maybe, Of course, they start winning. They open Jacob Field, Progressive Park, whatever you want to call it now. They open that stadium. Of course, they're winning. Here the fans of the 2,000 fans at Memorial Stadium to watch them Indians play couldn't get a ticket to that game. All of a sudden, because they're winning, where was these people at when they needed the support down at the old stadium?
Right.
That was, to me, that's guys like me. I still got, and Bill's got them too. The ticket stubs that we used to go to the games. I got tons of them. I supported them when they was losing.
I won't forget, and I'm 100% behind.
People do that.
I know.
When you're
I won't forget. I mean, look, that's why the whole Browns situation this past year was so special, because you have a fan like me that's paid attention since when I was little, and now they're finally showing signs of something promising for hopefully a long time. Because right now we've only had one season in the playoffs. Right now, I understand, but it's given us some serious hope. I will not forget the first era LeBron James, okay? I had an uncle like to take my cousins up to the games, have the fun time. They saw them win the Eastern Conference one year and all that. Okay, LeBron leaves. Push them away. And I'm still paying because I am a Cavs fan. I am still going to pay attention. I'm talking about, I hope we do this and that. LeBron comes back, and all of a sudden, he's the expert on why the Cavs are good at this, that. He's breaking it down. And I called him out one time. I said, you didn't pay attention for 4 years. Where were you for 4 years? How do you know these players? I watched that player every time on the TV. I went up and saw a game or two. I said, you were nowhere to be seen. And he goes, I was working. And then the excuses come out. Right. LeBron left. They weren't good. They weren't. That's why I'm pulling for this team, so because we need to have a Cavs dynasty that's good without LeBron. We love LeBron, but that time is over. I've accepted. Well, he might come back down the road, but that's to be debate another time. He's still got a few years left on his Los Angeles contract.
I mean, when he was here the first time, I thought it was great, and when he left, it wasn't that I was mad about him leaving because he has a right to leave.
Right.
Well, anytime you want. I mean, contracts and stuff like that. It's the way he did it.
Right.
He waited till the last minute to go on national television to give his decision.
Right.
The day that all the free agents that Gilbert had a chance to maybe couldn't get now because it was already gone. If he would have just went up to Mr. Gilbert and said, I am going to leave.
Like he did with Los Angeles.
Like he did with Los Angeles, I am going to leave. This gives Gilbert time to go out, maybe try to get somebody to replace. There was nobody left.
Right.
Because he did the last day of whatever was available.
Right. Correct.
And that's what upset me about that. When he came back, I was glad he came back.
And the way he came back.
And the way he came back. And he said he's going to win a championship. He won a championship for us.
Right.
But I was upset the way he did it, the way he left. I have nothing against anybody that wants to go somewhere else. He even went somewhere else and made less.
Yeah.
Miami offered him $4 million. Cleveland wanted to give him $5 million. Miami offered him $4 million for the same amount of money. This is just the way he left.
Yeah. Do you know the backstory to that? That came out. And it's an important story. I kind of wanted the fans at home. Do you know where the idea originated? Bill Simmons, basketball writer, who hates Cleveland for who knows why. Biggest Boston Celtics. Actually, speaking of that, they're up 55-38 at halftime. Hey, Bill, I hope you're watching. Bill Simmons, a fan commented on something on the internet. I forget if it was the ESPN site. He used to be with ESPN. He's no longer, from my understanding. And somebody commented and said, this would be an idea for LeBron to do. And Bill was thinking about it. He told his people that told LeBron's people, and they pushed him. LeBron wasn't sure about it. And they pushed him this idea, this is what you got to do. And it was just a marketing situation to put LeBron in the spotlight and embarrass Cleveland. That's why he wanted it. And some people might think, well, what does this Boston Celtics fan have against Cleveland? I do not know. But this guy has made it clear he hates Cleveland. He hates they came back in 2016 and won it all. When the Cavaliers won the first overall pick for the second time in 3 years. Not the third time in 4 years with Wiggins. The Anthony Bennett pick. Okay? Which didn't work out at all. We know that. Bill Simmons is working for TNT. Okay? I switched back to the balls have dropped. Cleveland gets the first pick. I'm screaming out. I'm jumping up and down at work like, oh my gosh, we got the first pick again. Kyrie's getting help. This is great. Okay? Flip to TNT, or it may have been when he was still with ESPN, so I take that back. Pacers are about to play the Heat. I think the news got to LeBron because he's looking at the scoreboard and something's off. There's NBA news and stuff. I think he thought in his head, holy shit, Cleveland's got, pardon my French, Cleveland's got the first pick again. All right? And I won't forget, I forget the woman's name, but there's a woman there for ESPN, and she goes, well, it looks like the Cavaliers will be walking out with the first pick overall once again. And the guy to her left goes like, hey, look at that, And Simmons is glaring at him. He's sitting to the right of her. And he's giving him looks like somebody insulted his mother. And he says, this is unfair. Cleveland just got the first pick 2 years ago. What are they doing with the first pick again? He said, this system needs to change. There's no way. How do they get the first pick again? This is unbelievable. And he is going off. And it's like, dude, it's not even your team. That's the backstory to why. Now, LeBron could have said no. There's that argument too. But why did LeBron didn't come up with it? Bill Simmons and his people came up with it through a fan. This is why, another reason I don't like Bill Simmons. Great basketball mind. Great writer. Douchebag. That's what it comes down to. But hey, Cavaliers, you beat the Celtics tonight. We'll let Bill know. We'll let him know.
He'll put it on his Facebook page.
There you go. I'll tweet Bill. So there you have it.
We do got one more thing that happened on this day in history.
What happened on this day in history?
In 1994, the city of Cleveland said there would be no smoking at the ballpark.
That was a big change, wasn't it, at that time?
And you know what upset a lot of people was because Gateway Project, which is Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse and Progressive Park. Back then it was Jacob Field and the Q, Quicken Loans Arena, or Gun Arena. It was called Gun Arena. Of course, it got a lot of jokes with that one, Gun Arena. But was built with the syntax. And they said no smoking, and the syntax was the tax on cigarettes that built that complex. And people were a little upset about that. Wait a minute here. You're taking my money on these cigarettes and beer to build these things, and you tell me I can't do it?
Right.
You know, I mean, so that was a big stink back then. But
yeah, it was a different time there.
But it happened in 1994. And of course, we know that they Jacobs Field opened in 94, Progressive Park now, or whatever you call it. Will become Progressive Park in a couple of years. Who knows?
Who knows? Hey, that's going to be it for today. We've reached our time, but thank you guys for tuning in. Next week, we'll see about what happens at the NBA trade deadline, more on the NFL free agency, and more on the Indians as they inch closer and closer to opening day. I'm starting to get excited. I'm starting to feel it.
Go
and
Tribe.
Then we'll talk about what's going on with the big tournament. Are we going to be talking about Ohio State, Cleveland State, or Ohio U going into next week? We'll find out, I guess.
We'll find out.
I'm Seth.
I'm Bob.
Go Tribe. And Buckeyes. And Vikings. And Bobcats. Whatever.